everyone, and welcome to Rates for Research 2024. My name is Jackie Monstream. I'm a community fundraising manager here at Fred Hutch on the philanthropy team. I also lead our Stream for Fred Hutch program. Rates for Research this year is sponsored by Zotac USA. Thank you so much, Zotac, for all your support of this event. We have some exciting giveaways with them later on, so super excited to chat more about that. We're going to get into a lot of fun things today, but first I want to take a step back and introduce Fred Hutch to any new folks on the stream here. So if you don't know, Fred Hutch Cancer Center, we're located in Seattle, Washington. You can see behind us here as well. We're right on campus today. And we are a comprehensive cancer center, which means that we treat and care for patients, and we also conduct research on our campuses as well. We are most known for, here at Fred Hutch, pioneering the bone marrow transplant, which is the first curative therapy for blood cancers and other disorders. And we're also known for our work that we've done with infectious diseases. So we house the HIV prevention trials network, or I think it's just the prevention network here at Fred Hutch. And then we also have done a lot of work with COVID-19, and we worked with the COVID-19 prevention network, which is also housed as well as the HIV one I just mentioned before. We've done a lot in the past 50 years. We were founded in 1975, and we're really excited because our 50th anniversary is next year, which is a huge milestone for us, and we have more work to do ahead, and we've really come a long way in all the advances that we have brought to cancer, the cancer space. This event today is called Rates for Research. It is our third annual Rates for Research event. We have 19 creators participating today. They'll all be streaming on Twitch this week. You'll actually get to hear from a few of them in just a bit here, which we're super excited to have, and they'll be chatting with one of our researchers. This week is gonna bring a lot of excitement. There's gonna be raid trains that go on, so streamers will raid into each other's streams. They all will be raising money for our research at Fred Hutch, and then they will be chatting with Fred Hutch researchers as well. So making that full connection with everyone. How we selected these creators, is special, and many of them we selected for a variety of reasons, and many of you we selected for a variety of reasons. One thing that really stood out to me about a lot of the creators and their communities is how inclusive they were and welcoming to folks, and oftentimes they were very philanthropic. So, their communities raised money, not only for Fred Hutch, but also for other charities that are important to them and the people and their audiences and the people that follow them. So, that was a main reason why, we connected with a lot of you. Many of you also have a direct connection to Fred Hutch. So that's, if you or a loved one has been treated at Fred Hutch or just has been treated for cancer somewhere else, but you know about Fred Hutch, or if you've lost a loved one to this disease and you want to do something about it. So thank you all for being here and for helping spread our mission and for raising money for our research. And then, finally, a lot of you are really curious. You want to learn more about our science. You want to learn more about our research. And so it's been really fun. That's why we bring the researchers on, because we can directly connect you to the science. And, that's so amazing for us to be able to provide that to as many creators as we can and their audiences. I just wanted to, thank everyone again for taking the time to fundraise for us this week and to be a part of this event. I know you all have really busy lives, and things are crazy. I know this has been a crazy month for our team as well. We just got back from TwitchCon last night, so we're here and we're just excited for this week ahead. So thank you all for participating. So like I mentioned, we have 19 creators participating, which is huge. It's our biggest event yet, and we actually have 9 who are returning from last year. So pretty good return rate, which is just awesome to see, and I'm so glad that so many of you came back too. You want to work with us again. That's awesome. Our goal is to raise $25,000, which is huge. We raised $15,000 last year. I was so proud of that. And, I set a little bit of a higher goal this year, but I know that we'll get close or we'll hit it. It's going to be a great week of fundraising. And we have some more incentives that we'll talk about later at the end. We have creators participating from all over. So a lot of you are local, which is super fun. And I've met a lot of you in person at PAX, at SOBA events. But then we also have folks streaming from Oregon, from Colorado, from Maryland, all across the US. So thanks all for being here, no matter where you're located. And we have the stream schedule for the week that's posted in our Discord if you need to figure out, okay, who am I raiding into? What's happening next? So make sure to check that out. And that's also on our X Twitter account too. So now we're actually going to move into the stream schedule. So this is not the full stream schedule. This is just a few highlights that we're going to have. So this doesn't highlight everyone, just a few people this week we're going to highlight. So make sure to, if you want the full stream schedule, you have to go to the Twitter or Discord account. All right, we'll get into that now. Perfect. All right, so we are going to start off with Allie, Alinea 8, who will be streaming Monday through Wednesday, 7 p.m. to midnight. She'll actually be streaming later on in the week as well, but these are kind of the highlights. So she streams a little bit late. She's streamed for over 1,500 days straight. So she's really dedicated to streaming and has built a really inclusive and fun community. She also has a really cute cat named Luna, so check her out on stream. This will be her second year participating. And then we have Cat Child next, who is streaming Monday through Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. So if you are a night owl and want to check her out, she'll be streaming Final Fantasy VII Remake, raising money for brain cancer in honor of her brother. And then next we have Booby Trap, who will be streaming Tuesday, the 24th, so tomorrow, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. She will be chatting with Adam Heck, who is one of our researchers here at Fred Hutch. So just tune in for some scientific content from that stream. And this will be her third stream with us. So she's done quite a bit of fundraising for Fred Hutch. And then we have Lunchbox, who will be streaming on the 24th from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. He's also streaming all throughout the week. He'll be playing Magic the Gathering. He has some really fun incentives on his stream, so make sure to check him out and the different giveaways that he'll be doing. This will be, I think, his third stream with us as well. So he's been, he moved recently and he's been really involved still. So we're so grateful to have him a part of this event. We have Poison Heart on Wednesday, the 25th. I think she's actually going to be raiding into our stream soon here too, but we're highlighting her stream on Wednesday because she'll be streaming with a Fred Hutch researcher named Cheyenne King, who works in the Alvarez lab here at Fred Hutch. Poison will be raising money in honor for breast cancer in honor of her dear friend. So Cheyenne King is a breast cancer researcher. So we made that connection there. And then next up, we have Lance and Jen. This is Lance and Jen's first time streaming for us. We actually met Lance, who's half of Lance and Jen, through a SOBA stream last Giving Tuesday. So that's how we connected, and we've been in contact ever since. He's a big part of the Fred Hutch community, the Stream for Fred Hutch community. And then they're streaming Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'm going to highlight their stream on the 25th, which is from 6 to 10 p.m. And that features the Slushy, which is another creator. And Lance did a really awesome job, and they partnered with local game devs to play some new games that are local, which we love because Fred Hutch is local to Seattle. So they're going to be playing Azuve and Desktop Explorer. And then we have Jen is online. This will be Jen's first time streaming with Fred Hutch on Wednesday, the 25th, so just in 2 days here, from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. She'll be chatting about her time at TwitchCon and raising money for Fred Hutch. Then we have Random Rob, who will be streaming on Thursday, the 26th. Random Rob will be playing Sea of Thieves, which is a fun pirate game, from 6 to 10 p.m. So we're excited to have him. This will be his first stream with us. And then on Thursday, the 26th, we have Ravnica, streaming from 6 to 9:30 p.m. She'll be streaming earlier on in this week as well, but she has done a lot to fundraise for us. Last Raids for Research, she has these really fun games that she plays for incentives. One of them called Gartic, where it's like a Pictionary game that integrates directly with your Twitch channel. So I had a lot of fun in the stream last year. So really excited to have her back. And then you will hear in just a little bit from Cooters and Fairly Asian, who will be streaming various days this week. And you'll get to hear a little bit more about what they are streaming next. And then we have Science Streams, who will be streaming on the 30th from 4 to 8 p.m. And that is a special stream that's at the same time as our closing stream, but that will feature Helen Anderson from the philanthropy team, who you will meet in just a little bit here, as well as Anderson Frank from the Biggins Lab. And they are scientific streamers, so they stream all sorts of scientific educational content, biology content, they do evolution content, so we're excited to see their streams. And then finally, we have our closing stream on Monday the 30th, same place, same time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us here. Guppy from the philanthropy team will be speaking. Woo, he's here today, as well as me. You're going to hear from me again. And then we'll feature 3 creators who are participating in the event, and they're going to share a bit more about how their streams went this week. So that will be Lance and Jin, but Lance specifically, Alchemist Joker, and Viola Licious, who will also be streaming all throughout this week. We're really grateful to have her on. So yeah, that's the stream schedule, not the full detailed one, but I tried to go into some highlights for us all. Thanks. And now,
look beyond the boundaries of today's science, past today's best treatments, to the outer reaches of our imaginations. Look at what happens when you see beyond each person's unique genetics and understand their perspectives, priorities, and passions. Look to a place that's a magnet for trailblazers, to an organization whose past breakthroughs have saved millions of lives, where research and patient care work together in real time to create new options, new hope. Look at Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center, where great minds, microscopic discoveries, and marvels of technology lead to prevention, better treatments, and cures for cancer and infectious diseases. Look at the wonders made possible thanks to those who support our vision of life beyond cancer. Look and never stop looking until we've put the world's most devastating diseases behind us. Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center. Look beyond.
It's such a privilege to be a part of a collaborative group that have helped contribute and make advances both in detection and early diagnosis to imaging, even in the advanced disease setting, as well as thinking about how we can bring novel treatments into the clinic and allow breast cancer patients here at Fred Hutch to have the best possible quality of life.
1 in 8 breast cancers go undetected by the human eye. So here at Fred Hutch, we're developing artificial intelligence and deep learning technologies that could detect cancer beyond what a human can interpret, leading to earlier cancer detection and better survival.
At the Hutch, we're leaders in precision oncology, and that includes the surgeons. One of those advances we're currently working on is technology to be able to remove all cancer with a lumpectomy at the time of the first operation. 20% of patients who undergo a lumpectomy, those patients need to go back for a second or even third surgery to attain clear edges or borders around the tumor. But at the Hutch, we're studying a new technology to help eliminate the need to go back for second or third operations.
All this work would not be possible if it weren't for Fred Hutch and the team around us. Without the multidisciplinary environment and collaborative environment, none of this innovative research would be possible.
We're making tremendous progress in our treatments for our patients with breast cancer. However, the need for novel therapies is still urgent, and we see that each day in patients that we meet for whom our treatments are no longer as successful as they need to be.
The cutting-edge research we're doing today were innovative ideas. They require donor funders to come forward.
Fewer than 15% of studies get funding at the national level, and a lot of those larger studies that we submit for national funding require pilot projects and studies to help prove that our ideas are worthwhile to pursue. And it's small donations from donors and other organizations that move those research projects forward.
Donor gifts are absolutely critical in order for us to be able to bring those novel treatments from the lab into our clinics and to allow them to help our patients.
5 years ago, we wouldn't have imagined that the tools we're using today are real and in our clinics. Here at Fred Hutch, we're looking beyond for the tools of the future that are going to be the next breakthroughs.
Hi. Welcome back. My name is Helen Anderson, as Jackie alluded to earlier, and I'm a scientific content liaison here at Fred Hutch. I work with the philanthropy team, but my background is in research, so I used to work in a lab where I studied cardiomyocytes or heart muscle cells, as well as stem cells. And most recently, I graduated from school where I studied genetic counseling, so I'm also a certified genetic counselor. But today, I'm very excited to be with Fairly Asian. This is Fairly Asian's first year streaming with Fred Hutch for Fred Hutch. But she is an active volunteer with SOBA, or the Seattle Online Broadcasters Association. And she recently attended a Fred Hutch Underground tour, which is very exciting. She likes single-player RPGs and is currently playing Final Fantasy XIV. So thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you're feeling about the week?
I'm excited. There's a lot of cool people streaming. So not even just from myself streaming perspective. I'm excited to like creep on other people's streams, see what they're up to, and get some vibes.
Yeah, we love catching a vibe. Very fun, very nice. And can you tell us what made you decide to stream with Fred Hutch? I mean, we're so grateful you did.
Yeah, well, last year I got to meet Jackie and other members of the team, like you said, the underground tour. But my very first experience was the SOBA stream for was it Giving Tuesday? It was like charity live stream for Christmas. That was really fun. I had never really interacted with the local community up until that point, from a fundraising perspective or even from just streaming perspective. And so that was like such a cool way to get to meet people. So people from that stream, I actually, talked to them relatively frequently and got to make some new friends. And then, plus the added bonus of being able to contribute something. And it's nice too that it's, Fred Hutch is a local organization. Yeah, so you can like see the impacts of it a lot more easily than maybe one of the bigger national organizations. Not that that's like a bad thing or anything like that, but it's just
you're like, no shade.
Yeah.
No, I love that because that's so true. It's so nice to have that community. And I think that's something that is so special about Fred Hutch is that it is a community that feels so egalitarian, right? Like everyone is so important. You have the scientists, you have the researchers, you have the patients, you have, all of the people who donate, who give their time, their energy. I think that's really exciting. So that's really nice. Yeah. And to find these like Twitch communities, like you're saying, that are local where you can like make friends and do something that feels really good for society. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I love
sure.
that. Now, something else that we did today is we actually asked our creators, our lovely creators, to bring a piece of scientific information, a piece of scientific news that they learned about recently that they think is cool, that they want to discuss with us. And you're going to share that information now. And hopefully we'll have a little chitty chat that is interesting to the rest of y'all out there.
Yeah. So I don't remember the details exactly, but there was a study that showed that black currants, people who eat them, that it helps with bone density loss in patients that are having bone density issues. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting to me because it's like it's something, it's like when you just like eat something, it's like, why aren't you just eating calcium? Like just taking like fistfuls of calcium, like isn't that supposed to help you have, strong teeth and bones? Is that what we're told like in school?
Yeah, that is what you're told. Yeah. And it is honestly like one of the most buck wild things that you like eat food and then your body turns it into body. Like that's crazy. That's crazy talk. Yeah, so that's a really cool study. And what that study was really addressing was the way that what we eat influences our microbiome. So have you heard of the microbiome before?
Yeah, it's like kind of like your gut, the colony of like bacteria and stuff in your gut that like manages things for you.
Yes, yeah. No, your microbiome is essentially a human organ made entirely of non-human cells. In your body, guess how many pounds of bacteria you have in your body? Bacteria, viruses, fungi.
3?
Yeah, no, you're a genius. Yeah, like 3 to 6 pounds. Yeah. You're like, I did not expect this to be a quiz. No, you have like 3 to 6 pounds of like non-human nonsense living in you. And that is essential to every aspect of your life. Like, it's crazy. About half of our bodies are non-human cells.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's
like
so cool.
Like the mitochondria is technically like ancestrally not a human thing, but got consumed by human things, and then we decided to start using it for something functional.
Dude, do you want my job? Do you want to work at Fred Hutch? Do you want to be a researcher? That's 100% accurate. Yeah, we think that like way back when there were like back in the time when like everything was just like a single-celled organism living its best life. There was one single-celled organism who engulfed another, and instead of just digesting it and turning it into its own little body and breaking it down, the one it engulfed was just like, what if I lived here inside you? And that was mitochondria. That's obviously like way simplified, but it's a crazy fun story.
Love it.
Yeah. But what's cool about the microbiome is that, I mean, it's so important, like you were saying, in translating what we eat, what we breathe, and turning that into the way that our bodies function, right? So this study found that black currants, which are kind of berry, which is really high in like anti-inflammatory substances, anti-inflammatory, we always like hear that as a buzzword for things that are healthy for us. And the reason why is that inflammation can be a really healthy process that our immune system does, right? So like if I cut myself, oh, gotta keep my mic close. If I cut myself, then you're going to see that it gets swollen, puffy, and red. And that's because my immune system is like, oh my God, there's been a breach. Quick, everyone, run to the site. And that causes inflammation because everyone helpful is coming to try and protect you, to try and help that damage. But as we get older, as we age, sometimes our immune system starts to behave in ways that aren't helpful. It starts to attack our own cells, or commonly it starts to like miss precancerous cells that usually it would detect and kill.
Okay.
It starts to miss those. And that's why it's one of the reasons why older folks are more likely to develop cancer than younger folks. And so it's interesting because what we eat can change our microbiome, which has all these important roles in our immune system and in aging and in a whole variety of complex processes. And by changing our microbiome, it changes all those processes, you know?
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I kind of went on
yeah.
a long ramble for you. I just think the microbiome is so cool. I just can't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so I think I remember the study was basically saying that like the byproducts of processing the black currants, it kind of boosts like that process of absorption.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly from the study, because I kind of just looked at it once, but what they found is that you eat black currants, right? Again, this berry, really high in good stuff like antioxidants and anti-inflammatory, substances. You eat these berries, and what they found, what they theorized, is that eating these berries caused your microbiome. We can think of our microbiome as like a rainforest, this beautiful, diverse thing. And when we change that ecosystem, then it changes what species are going to be able to thrive there.
Oh, okay.
And what they theorized was that by adding these black currants, you were adding a food source for a certain species in your microbiome, in your personal little rainforest. And that species, called Ruminococcus, if I remember correctly, they theorized that that species down the line is able to inhibit another certain kind of biological process that causes bone loss.
I see.
And so because you're inhibiting the thing that causes bone loss, it allows you to maintain that bone density.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Because as you mentioned, osteoporosis is a common concern for women who are getting older.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Osteoporosis, for folks out there who aren't familiar, is just loss of bone density. And it's a common concern for women that are getting older. Yeah. Actually, at Fred Hutch, we have a lot of different research divisions, a lot of different care divisions here at Fred Hutch. But in 1991, so only 16 years after we opened our door, we launched the Women's Health Initiative. I say we, I wasn't here then. But they launched the Women's Health Initiative, which is this huge, like over 16,000 women have participated in this initiative since it launched. But it was a program designed to study osteoporosis, heart disease, and cancer risks in women who are perimenopausal and postmenopausal, because that's a huge like part of our population, but it's one that's underrepresented in research. And this project is like still going on today, and we're studying ways that women can lead healthier lives, that all people can lead healthier lives to reduce their risk of those health concerns.
That's very interesting. That's very cool.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. They did a study, actually. We have, so many different subsets to this study, but one of the things that they recently did, it's called the Cosmos trial. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not.
Okay. It sounds cool. But the Cosmos study, I love, because do you like chocolate? Do you have a sweet tooth at all?
I do. I'm very, very inclined to sweets.
Myself as well. I love to bake. I love to eat. Big fan. What this study did was, it was called the Cosmos study, because it stands for like cocoa supplement and multivitamin study. I don't think that last part was right. But essentially what they were doing was they were looking at whether or not taking cocoa supplements, like the kind you find in chocolate, and a multivitamin could reduce the risk of cancer and heart disease and increase cognitive function as we get older. And what they found was that the multivitamin might not be helpful in reducing cancer risk or heart disease risk, but it might be helpful in improving cognitive function as we age. And they found that the cocoa supplement had folks that were in the population that was taking the cocoa supplement had like a 27% reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, or like death by cardiovascular disease. So it might actually help your heart health. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. No one, this is not advice. I do not know, as a doctor or a scientist, if eating chocolate will reduce your risk of heart disease.
It'll
but
make you happier.
I'm going to continue eating chocolate because we love chocolate. I don't need an excuse. But yeah, it's a
Very
cool study.
cool. Fred Hutch has a very storied history. Every time I come here, I always learn more.
I know. Yeah. And I think what's cool about like food, like you were saying, and the microbiome is that we all have to eat. Most of us like to eat. And it's cool that what we eat can help us reduce our risk of cancers. Do you know what, I recently learned this fact at Fred Hutch. Do you know what % of cancers they think might be caused by lifestyle factors?
Like 50?
Okay, wow, okay. Why are you, I should not work here. You're so smart. You're getting everything right. You're really, like 40%. 40%. Thank you. Thank you for the wows in the audience. 40%. That's like the fact that we could reduce, if we could, by just changing lifestyle factors, by helping people to lead lives that are healthier, that reduce their risk of cancer, if we could remove 40% of cancer diagnoses, another 1 in 4 cancer diagnoses is associated with bacterial and viral infections, which is one of the reasons at Fred Hutch we also study infectious disease. Because as Jackie had mentioned earlier, that I'm looking off camera because Jackie's here, is because we know that viruses and bacteria can directly cause cancer. And so there's a lot of intimate relationships between cancer progression and bacterial and viral function.
Yeah, I know like HPV is like a huge for like sexual health in women specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Sure.
Yeah. So cool. Also, you mentioned the Underground Tour earlier. Can you tell us a little more about that for folks who don't know what that is?
Yeah, so the Underground Tour, we were invited, a bunch of streamers, local community, were invited to come to Fred Hutch and talk to some of the researchers here, and then go behind the scenes and see some of the lab equipment, talk to some people who are actively using that equipment to do research, learn about some of the machines, some of the fancy technology that Fred Hutch is entitled or not allowed to use because of some of the research that they're doing. Some machinery too, which I guess I say entitled because of not everybody has access to, which I thought was super cool. Just knowing that there's cutting edge research being done right down the street from where a lot of us come to work and play. Yeah. And then we got to suit up and do our own little science experiment, extracting DNA from strawberries, I believe it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so some people had gotten to do a similar experiment. I remember I did it with kiwi when I was in high school. Ooh. But a lot of the people on the tour had never experienced that before. So
I've never done it.
Yeah, that was super cool. It was fun.
Which DNA was prettier, the kiwi DNA or the strawberry DNA?
It looked about the same.
Wow.
If I remember correctly.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Have you ever, we were chatting, you have dogs who are adorable. Have you ever done like a DNA test for your dog?
I did. So
Stop.
My first dog, so I have 2 Yorkies. we always joke around that my first Yorkie is like part weenie dog because she has kind of like an elongated body.
Okay.
And like kind of more like a little stocky.
Some sausage qualities to her.
Yeah. And like, like bigger paws and things. And so I was joking that she's like a half weenie dog. And I was like, well, let's just, see and find out.
And with your luck, you were probably 100% right because you're always right when you guess things.
She's 100% Yorkie. She's 100% Yorkie.
Are you serious?
Yeah. She
God.
I guess.
She's just chunky and short.
Yeah. I guess like whatever came out. Yeah, she's just like built to just run after things and like burrow in holes and stuff like that for rodents, I guess.
Yeah, we love. Honestly, powerful, a queen. Send it.
Yep.
That's so cool. We don't currently, as far as I know, at Fred Hutch have any specific we're studying a lot. The proteasome, the mitochondria. Name an organelle. We've got someone who's got their finger in that pie, but I do not know if we have anyone specializing in studying what makes Yorkies shorter. It would be cool though. I can ask. I'm still new. I've only been here a few weeks. I'm still new. I'm still learning. Yeah. That would be cool though. It'd be a cool study. Yeah.
Sign me up. I'll bring them. They can be your little guinea pigs.
Honestly, they're actually okay. So it's funny that you said sign me up. There actually are ways that you can participate in studies at Fred Hutch. I recently learned about this. So we have a platform called Cook for Your Life. And Cook for Your Life is a Fred Hutch sponsored program that helps folks learn how to, we were talking about nutrition earlier, eat in a way that supports the lifestyle they want to live. So sometimes these are patients who want a diet that helps reduce their risk of, developing cancer again, or they're folks who want to have a diet that helps them to feel better while they're receiving treatment. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're diets that folks want to help them reduce the risk of developing cancer, even if they don't have it yet. And what I also like about this website is that the website is entirely in Spanish and English, which I also love because that just increases the amount of folks that can use that resource.
For sure.
But the reason I thought of it was because you can actually sign up to participate in studies on how our microbiome works and like how food changes your risk for certain health conditions. By participating in those as a member of the population, eating these different foods that a study prescribes, you get to be part of these studies like on blackcurrant or whatever by just like eating fun, delicious foods that are provided to you by Fred Hutch. And then you get to play a role in that fundamental research.
Eating, I'm sold.
I know, honestly. All right. Well, I think we are going to let you off the hook now. Thank you for chatting with me. Excited for your stream. Very excited to see this Final Fantasy 14. We love it. But we're going to take a quick break, watch some videos from Fred Hutch, and then have another creator, Cooters, on with us in just a minute.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Immunotherapy is basically a strategy of using your natural immune system to fight cancer. There are a lot of different types of immunotherapy, but the huge majority all funnel through and end at the T cell. They're all different strategies to try to make the T cell work better at recognizing the cancer and killing the cancer. Our T cell production involves first doing a cell collection from the patient. So these are T cells that have been produced from the patient's own cells. We are able to use lasers to pull out the most powerful ones that we want that will work best in fighting the patient's cancer. We grow those cells out. We do a ton of testing on them to make sure they meet our quality requirements and they don't have any contamination. You've designed this product specifically for the patient out of their own cells. You genetically program them, and then you put them in a 500 cc IV bag that has a few million cells, which is nothing when you consider like how many cells of cancer they have, and how many cells are in their body. It gets put in a cooler, and then you infuse them into the patient, and then they go to town against the cancer.
Funny. All right, welcome back. Thank you for tuning back in after that little video break. We are thrilled to introduce Cooters to our kickoff event. This is also Cooters' first year participating in Stream for Fred Hutch. Thank you very much. You visited our booth at PAX West a few weekends ago, and you stream almost every day. Very impressive, dedication. And recently you've been streaming Marvel Snap, which is super cool.
Yeah, I've been streaming Snap for a while now. It's more of a mobile game. I mean, if people don't know what it is, it's basically a card game. It's like a easy to learn kind of game, so I've been playing that. But I've streamed other games in the past, obviously, but that's pretty much the main one I've been streaming now.
I love. Okay,
Yeah.
quick tangent before we get to our questions. When you say it's easy to learn,
Mm-hmm.
my friend, who I love dearly, he'll know who I'm talking about. He is famous for saying that a game is like easy to learn and super chill, and then it's a game like Twilight Imperium, which
Sure.
is not easy to learn. It takes 14 hours.
Sure.
Is Marvel Snap actually easy to learn?
Yeah, I would say it's
Okay.
definitely. I mean, it is first and foremost a mobile game, so it's kind of meant to be, played when you're just don't have anything else to do.
love.
I don't
Yeah.
wanna use it- I don't know if I really should use the term like a toilet game. It's like you can just like. I mean, every game averages about 2 to 3 minutes. So
Oh,
when you
that's
play a
super
game with
nice.
someone else, it's really fast. Like so,
Okay,
so-
like Snap.
Yeah,
Cute.
yeah. So I mean, there's this other Snap element to it, but I mean, games that are kind of more intricate, like Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, even is a thing. Those games definitely have a bigger learning curve, I would say, and
Yeah.
definitely have a lot of just mechanics and everything that you just have to really wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to say Snap is so dumbed down that there
No.
there aren't mechanics to it, but it's first and foremost like made to just be really quick, really easy. You just get in, get out kind of thing, and you can be done for the day kind of thing. Or you can take it to a very, very high level, and if you really want to get like sweaty with it, you can, and it gets very intricate for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those like modular games. It's as simple or complex as you want.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Fun. All right. Well, this is your first time streaming with us.
It is my first time.
How are you feeling?
A little nervous. I think.
Yeah.
I think everyone is. It's because it's one of those things where you set a goal and you want to meet it. And it's one of those things you're like, man, what if I don't? But I've done charity streams in the past, so it's not like totally new to me. But
Yeah.
it's still one of those things where you just want to perform well.
Yeah.
You want to perform well for the people you're backing. So.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. What made you decide to back Fred Hutch?
I mean, there's like a multitude of reasons, honestly, and I think it's a cop-out answer to say like, oh, it's a good cause, because I feel like there are a lot of
There are a lot of good causes,
good
yeah.
like fundraisers out there that are good causes.
Yeah.
But I mean, cancer research is one of those things where when you think about it, it's kind of unfortunate that I feel it's pretty much an intimate part of everyone's lives, or at least the majority, and in some kind of negative way, right? I mean, it's going to be friends and family. It could be yourself, hopefully not. But it's just one of those things where I just kind of envision a place in the future, hopefully nearer future than later, where you can get diagnosed and then just helps real quickly and potentially eradicate something like as simple as one visit or something like that, and it's just trivialized where when you get that message or you get the news, it's not so heartbreaking. It's just something where it's like, oh, it's just cancer. Like obviously now it's not, right? But it'd be nice because it's like, oh, I got the flu, or I got like a cold,
Sprained
or
my
something.
ankle. Like,
Right? Yeah,
it would be
it's something where you
awesome.
go in the doctor's office, oh, you have
Yeah.
this, okay, whatever, like just come by, this time and we'll treat you and you'll be done. I think that would be ideal, and on top of that, I think. I don't know if more importantly, but just as importantly, that it's open to everyone and it's affordable. I think that's another big thing. So
Yeah, I think that is like a huge aspect. Is you need to have science to find these cures,
right.
but then you need to make these cures accessible to everyone and
Right.
truly accessible, not just like it exists now,
Right.
but like actually something that people in every part of the world, in every demographic can actually reach and use. Because like one of my big things with science is that science not shared is science not learned. If we know something and we can't share it with the public and we can't share it equitably with the public, we might as well not have learned that information. We might as well not have that cure.
Right.
So I think that's huge. And like, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Like maybe we're naive and we've read too much sci-fi, but I think that future is possible.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, obviously, if you go back through history, you can tell that science has improved a ton.
Yeah, more than a little.
So I mean, I don't want to swear, but a lot, right? So, I think it's definitely achievable. Obviously, it's like a pipe dream for certain things, but I mean, I don't think anyone can really predict how fast something accelerates. So
yeah, and everything exciting starts as a pipe dream, like one of the things I like to think about is that trying to understand human health and human biology is like trying to put together a 1 billion piece puzzle for which you've lost the box.
Sure. Yeah.
And you have to start somewhere, and it's like you start with the edge pieces. And then you get all these different brilliant minds, these different specialists, these different perspectives. And one guy goes, I'm going to do the blue pieces. And another person says, I'm going to take the red pieces. And then you've got some kind of lazy person like me who's like, I'll take all of the words. I'll take the easy stuff because I can spell things. That would be me. I'm not a puzzler. But I think what I think is so exciting is that like right now in science, we've got the edge pieces,
Right.
You know, we've got a
Right.
good foundation, but there's so many blank spaces,
Sure.
and we've got this big pile left of puzzle pieces, and you don't know which one's going to be the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't know which one's going to cure cancer. We don't know.
Sure.
But I think that piece is out there. We just got to find it and stick it in.
And it definitely helps when you have that general picture, right? When you know what it's going to look
Yeah.
like. You're kind of
Yeah.
like, I know what it's going to look like in the end, so it's going to help me achieve that, right?
Yeah. Have you heard of basic sciences?
You can educate me. You can educate chat. I mean, you might as well educate chat. You know.
So true, so true. So at Fred Hutch, we have multiple different research divisions, which basically is just a way of saying we've got multiple different categories of research. And basic sciences I used to work in.
Gotcha.
And basic sciences basically refers to like fundamental biology. And it's the kind of science that a lot of times people are like, why is that worth knowing? Like, why do we need to understand why the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell?
right.
Why do we need to understand what the mitochondria does other than make energy for the cell? Like, why does it matter if it has other roles? But we like to know these fundamental basics because when we know how something works, we can better understand what happens in cells where it's not working.
Right.
What makes a cancer cell different than a normal cell? One of the things we're realizing is that cancer cells actually use their mitochondria differently. Cancer cells make energy differently than normal cells. And if we can find out why and how and manipulate that process, I mean, that might be that final puzzle piece. You know, we don't know.
Yeah.
Now, before I hijack you talking more about mitochondria, just because they're the powerhouse of the cell we love. We all went to high
Right.
school. We love it.
Yeah.
Tell me, I've heard that you've brought me a scientific tidbit that you'd like to discuss.
I have.
Yes.
So this is an article I think that's been going around. It's probably, I'm sure people have actually seen it potentially on TV even. It's a drug dubbed the supermodel granny, I think is what it's called.
That old chestnut.
I think that's like the unofficial name. Basically,
The formal
just to
drug name.
explain, I guess if people haven't heard about it, there is a test they did on a bunch of lab rats, I guess to use the lack of a better term, but they used this or gave this drug to a group of rats, and they obviously observed them and noticed that the lifespan was increased by around 25%. And not only that, the rat, they were dubbed like the supermodel grannies because they were older, but they looked even younger and healthier than rats who weren't given this drug. And the other thing too, which I guess is kind of in Fred Hutch's wheelhouse, is that they also observed that they developed fewer cancers throughout their lifetime. So I guess like my question is kind of like, how applicable would you say this is for, because I know they're doing human trials, but how applicable do you think it is for humans? And also, do you think there's going to be like any deviation from this work or just, spawning other, research opportunities?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it is a super cool study. And when you talk about like how applicable is it, I think one of the things, because I remember reading this article, I remember one of the things that the journalist was like, so are we going to live forever? Like, should I take this drug?
right.
And the scientist, like a classic scientist, was like, it is exciting. It is encouraging. That is where we're at.
Right.
Because, I mean, science is a marathon, not a sprint, you know? And I think that's one of the things that I like about Fred Hutch is that, like Jackie mentioned, our 50th anniversary is coming up. We're 50 years young,
Right.
We're hungry. Like, yes, bone marrow transplant, that was great. That was exciting. We could sit back and be like, great, we have this curative therapy for blood cancer. We did our good part for society. We're done now. But it's like, no, what else can we do? Can we help make aging easier? Can we cure other kinds of cancers? And, we have these missions to, cure cancer, to study infectious disease, but all of these processes are linked. All of them are connected. Right. And so when you were saying like how relevant is this, we know that studies done in mice, which in science, we're very grateful to mice for their sacrifice for science, very grateful. Mice are actually a really good model organism for people. When we say model organism, we basically mean a non-human animal or non-human species that we can then test, drugs or studies or experiments in that can let us know, gives a prediction of how that might look in people. So I agree with what the scientists said in the paper. Having read the paper, not an expert in that field, but it seems exciting. It seems encouraging. The way that this drug, this, supermodel granny rat drug.
Yeah, whatever,
Yeah, the way that it worked was it actually served in the body to inhibit a certain cytokine. Are you familiar with cytokines?
No, I'm not actually.
Okay. Honestly, I had to Google it as well. I was like, I'm embarrassed. Okay. Do you ever feel like there's a quick tangent? Do you ever feel like there's a moment when you're like, my 17-year-old self would actually be way more helpful to me right now than my current self? Because like when I was in Bio 101, I would have been like a cytokine, obviously, idiot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things where, I mean, everyone that gets too much information, your brain just flushes out things that you don't think is helpful, right? And then later on you're going, dang, I really wish I remembered what that was. Yeah.
Yeah, U.S. presidents, at one point, I had all of them memorized in order. Now sometimes I'm like, who's our current president? Like, humbling. But anyways, so tangent, cytokines. Cytokines are a special kind of molecule in your body, and they play a fundamental role in inflammation.
Okay.
Which Fairly Asian and I were talking about earlier. But inflammation is a critical process in our immune system, but we know that inflammation can also have negative effects, right? So like it can be involved in aging.
Right.
We often think of arthritis as kind of an unfortunate example of inflammation where you get that swelling in the joints. It's very painful. And inflammatory processes, those pathways in the body, can also be involved in cancer progression as well as other health conditions like autoimmune diseases.
Gotcha.
Autoimmune diseases are when your immune system is actually attacking yourself.
Right.
So autoimmune, as opposed to viruses and other things, but not the good viruses in our microbiome. Those we don't touch. We love them. Anyways, where was I going with this? Got on a long tangent. We were talking about how it works. Haha, cytokines.
Yeah.
So you take this drug, and what that drug was doing was it targeted this certain cytokine called IL-11 or IL-11.
Right. Okay.
And it inhibited that cytokine. It was like, stop working. We don't need you. We don't want you. And what they found is that when they inhibited that antibody, or when they genetically engineered mice that didn't produce that antibody, those mice then had less of an inflammation response. And they also predict that by inhibiting that cytokine, there were other sort of downstream effects, like the butterfly effect.
Right.
So other processes were also affected, and they saw that these mice had better metabolisms because they had mitochondria that were functioning at a higher level.
Right.
Again, powerhouse of the cell. They also found that these animals had a lower overall body mass and a higher lean body mass and lower adiposity, which is fancy speak for like body fat, which suggests these mice had higher muscle mass, which is, again, why they were moving better, why they look fly as
Super
hell.
rats. Basically.
They looked great. Yeah, sleek,
Super rats.
glossy. Yeah, give me that biotin supplement. They weren't on a biotin supplement. That's not in the paper. Also, I mean, you should talk to your dermatologist or your doctor. A lot of biotin supplements are like fake news. I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. But no, it was interesting because they also found that like the inflammation pathways were downregulated, which we'd expect. But there were a lot of other biomarkers. So like things we can measure in the blood that tell us about how our body is working that suggest that these mice are aging differently. So they had a longer lifespan, but they were not just aging like less, they were aging differently because they also had an increased health span. So they looked better, they seemed to like feel better, and like you said, they developed less cancers because we're down regulating those processes that are involved in inflammation, and the immune system was behaving differently in a way that maybe allowed our body to be better at detecting precancerous cells and therefore not developing cancer, or maybe not developing precancerous cells in the first place at a high rate. You know, all of this is so theoretical, which is why we need more research before we, you know, start doing this in people. But yeah, it's really interesting. Again,
it is. Yeah, it is. It's for sure. I mean, anything, I think what people allude to is kind of that like, oh, I can live, you know, for a long time, right? You can like, I think people kind of grasp onto that because they're thinking, oh, maybe I can see like my grandchildren, like, you know, live, you know, longer than normally would or whatever.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things. But I guess the really interesting thing for me was what you were talking about was like the fewer cancers and just the overall like potentially health benefits. Obviously, there's not a lot of research on it, so we don't know too much. I guess I do kind of have a follow-up question, if that's fine.
Yeah, of
You're
course.
talking about how inhibiting this, IL-11, I believe you said it was, causes them to not go through that inflammation process. Was that what you said, right?
Yeah, so it targeted a specific cytokine involved in inflammation, downregulated those pathways.
You had comments on how inflammation can have positive effects, right, as well as negative. So by inhibiting this and lowering that, do you foresee any potential negative side effects because of that?
I mean, that's the question, right? So again, I am not a doctor, and I am also not a scientist on this paper.
Gotcha.
I read it, I gave it a look through, thought it was really interesting.
Right.
But I think that one of the things that you note, which is always something I think about, is we know that in our body, everything is connected.
Right.
You know, it's this beautiful, magnificent spider web. The more I learn about biology, the more I think it's ridiculous that any of us are alive. Like, it's insane how it all works. Like, it shouldn't all work. but like everything connects. It's gorgeous and stupid and complicated. And I think that what you say is exactly the concern that I would have, is we theorize that it has this role in this one pathway.
Right.
And we know that that pathway connects to this pathway, and that pathway connects to this pathway, and that pathway, you know, we see all these connections, and we go, great, we see all these connections, and we think that all these connections explain what we're observing.
Right.
What about stuff we're not measuring? What about stuff we're not observing? What if there's another pathway we haven't explored yet? And that's why, you know, again, we talk about science being a marathon, not a sprint, you know, and it's why we have folks from so many different backgrounds, perspectives. One of the things that I love about Fred Hutch is that we have over 350 faculty members, and each of those folks is a scientist from a different place, a different background, a different perspective, who is going to see these problems and is going to notice different gaps and want to fill them in.
Right.
Because I think you're right. Like, we suspect and we theorize this one role, but there might be other roles. And that's why clinical trials are important, right? Because clinical trials allow us to assess side effects, to assess downstream things, and to look at it in different folks, you know?
Right.
We know that not all drugs are going to work the same in all people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
very
really cool, though.
it's just really interesting when you think about it, right? It's just like, I don't know, the whole, I mean, how it all pieces together, like you're saying, like building this puzzle. It's kind of similar to just the idea of the butterfly effect, where by stopping this, by doing this and this, you know, how this reacts, oh, you live longer, kind of thing. You know? But of course there could always be negative side effects, right?
And I'm like a real visual learner, and I'm also super logical. So I like to literally like draw stuff out. And like, I mean, you can get some beautiful diagrams of biochemical pathways. Let me just say, you could frame that. All right. Well, we are at time. This has been lovely chatting with you. Thank you so much for letting me talk your ear off. Thank you for bringing some science to us and for streaming for Fred Hutch.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We're going to transition to a few more little videos, and then you'll hear from our beautiful Jackie again. All right. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Kate Koger. I'm the manager of the Clinical Cancer Genomics Laboratory. We are an important part of the diagnostic care team for patients with leukemia. We look for the genetic aberrations that are causing the patient's leukemia. Knowing the genes involved allows us to characterize the exact type of leukemia, their prognosis, and what treatment is most likely to be successful. We do this using a variety of techniques that look at the DNA or RNA of the patient's cells at a varying level of resolution. The oldest technique that we use is called traditional karyotyping, where we're looking at the entire genome in large blocks. We take a patient's sample of either marrow or blood and entice them to grow. Then we use chemicals to arrest the cells during replication in mitosis, where the DNA is most condensed in chromosomes. We make the microscope slides and then add more chemicals to reveal a characteristic banding pattern. Then the highly trained technologists put the detective hats on to solve the puzzle, matching, comparing, and categorizing aberrations in the chromosome numbers and structure.
Hi, my name is Megan Lyle. I work at the Prevention Center at Fred Hutch Cancer Center, and I'm going to be showing you today our Human Nutrition Lab. A lot of work here involves controlled feeding studies. So we are providing study participants a controlled set of meals for days, weeks at a time, and then studying the relationship between that consumption of food and potentially metabolic markers of disease, so we can better understand disease prevention and mitigation. So right now we're preparing for our first feeding in a controlled feeding study. Kyle's preparing this high-fat, high-calorie lasagna to the nutrition specifications that we had put into our nutrition software that will know to the gram and milligram amount for many nutrients exactly what we're providing the participant. And then in a controlled feed, what's really important is that you are also getting returned food. All the food for the entire week is provided to the study participant. They are not allowed to eat anything else. And then they return those containers and we weigh them back on these exact same scales so we know exactly what they've consumed for that entire week.
Hello, everyone. It's me again. I'm back. And I am Hey, everyone. I'm back, closing out the stream today. Thanks for the applause, everyone here. We've definitely had a fun time today, so thank you all for tuning in. Just wanted to give a huge shout out to Cooters and Fairly Asian. Thank you both for coming out to campus today. Thank you. Thank you so much, and for sharing your whys with us. why you choose to stream for Fred Hutch, sharing your scientific knowledge and interest with us. And thank you to Helen again from our team for helping connect our creators to the science. So thank you so much. If we have one more stream in about a week here where Guppy will be on. So if you have any other scientific questions, feel free to post them in the chat now, and we'll choose a few to answer on that stream. So do that now. Guppy's monitoring, and we'll get to those next stream. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about some fun things and fun incentives we have going on. So for all RAIDS participants, if you registered, you got this cool, comfy t-shirt that I'm wearing that is included when you register through Tiltify. And then if you raise $250, let me grab my pins, you get these 2 Stream for Fred Hutch pins. So this one just says Stream for Fred Hutch. And then this is my favorite one. It's a little flask. I thought it was called a beaker for a second. Here, let me do it better. With little headphones around it and a little heart. So you'll get these together. They're also magnets, so they're pretty fun. So you get those if you raise $250. And then my favorite incentive, if you raise $500 or more, you get this awesome Fred Hutch drinking beaker. This is dishwasher safe. You can drink cold brew out of it. You can drink soda out of it, whatever you want on stream. It's just a fun, scientific, useful item as well. So that's that. And then we have a really exciting giveaway from our partners, Zotac USA. Brian, I'll have you put that up on the screen. If you raise $300 or more during this week, you will be entered into winning one of these MEK PCs from Zotac USA. It has all the content on the screen up here now, but if you raise $300 or more, you'll get entered into winning one of these. We have 2 to give away. Thank you, Zotac, for gifting us these. And they are valued at around $1,000 each. So excited. And we'll pull the winners on the closing stream next week, and a week from today. So we just heard from Cooters and Fairly Asian on why they stream for Fred Hutch. But it's, our turn to share why, I put on this event and our team puts on this event. We are working on all aspects of cancer at Fred Hutch, from the prevention aspect to diagnosis to treatment. And we really are motivated to raise money for the research and connect with all of you in your fundraising. Every dollar really does make a difference. $5 supplies 100 test tubes that our researchers are using in the lab, and then up to $150 that funds a week of groceries for an out-of-town family staying at our patient lodging here, who if someone is being treated at Fred Hutch. So really your dollar goes a long way, and every dollar really does make a difference. I actually wanted to share, this is off script, I wanted to share an exciting update. I was just checking our Tiltify. We've actually raised over $5,000, which is awesome. Yeah, so we're at, I think, $5,500, which is crazy. So thank you all so much for donating and for showing up. We are off to a great start. So really, really excited that we have that update, and thank you all for supporting. Philanthropic support is really important to the work that we're doing at Fred Hutch. Research is oftentimes funded by the government through grants, but that's typically more well-studied and more well-developed research, and really innovative ideas, innovative research does require private support, and that's why it's so important for us to do events like Raids for Research through Stream for Fred Hutch to get the private support that we need to do these, innovative and, research ideas that we're not sure if they're going to work, but if they do, it could go a really long way. So thank you all. Private support is so important. Your dollar goes so far. I'm going to wrap it up here. Just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in today. I think this is only the second stream we've ever done on the Fred Hutch Twitch channel, so hope you enjoyed it. Hope it went well. Catch us back here in exactly a week, next Monday, the 30th, 4 to 5 p.m. That'll be our closing stream. We'll go over highlights from the week. We'll talk to a few different creators. It's going to be really fun. And you can follow us on social media at Fred Hutch on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So join us there. Thank you all. Keep on rating and raising money for research. Thank you so much.